Oxford mentorship program, Cambridge mentorship. If you think like a PhD student, then writing your application stuff is very easy because the biggest thing is to put yourself out there, and even leading someone in a path that you've been in and giving them the steps to avoid the mistakes you made. But I realized those people who actually had people show them the ropes were finding things easier eventually than I had, because I would have to make my mistakes and learn from them. You can get the job without interviewing. Yeah.
And how essential is mentorship?
How you leverage the money. I would not want to be a rich man in a mansion and have no one around me. Yeah.
Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Oh yeah.
Hey fam, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited you decided to stop by today. We have an interesting topic we will be discussing, which is mentorship. If you have ever wondered how to get a mentor or be a mentor yourself, this is the right channel to tune into. Today we have a special guest in our midst, and I will allow him to introduce himself.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Jude Kpare. I'm a PhD student in Material Science and Engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology, United States of America.
Okay, thank you so much, Jude, for coming today.
Thanks,
I'm really
Jessica.
honored.
Yeah.
So our first question of the day, what is mentorship to you?
For me, mentorship is just leading someone in a path that you've been in and giving them the steps to avoid the mistakes you made or achieve the success that you have.
Okay, that's a really interesting insight. Now, when it comes to the context of graduate school, do you think that mentorship is important, and how essential is mentorship when it comes to grad school?
I think that the importance of mentorship for grad school applications cannot be overemphasized. Okay. Mainly because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of little secrets that people do not know about the graduate school application experience, and it's only when you talk to people who have actually been through this, and possibly not even everyone has the same journey, but at least you would get information, and I would actually advise you to seek information from various sources. And so that way you'll be able to glean from everyone's experience, and that's like super important to your journey.
Interesting.
If not, you have to learn a lot of stuff yourself.
I agree to that. So do you have any examples that you could share with us in your grad school journey where you have encountered a mentor who blessed your life, or you yourself were that mentor to someone that transformed their grad school journey?
Yeah, I would say importantly for grad school, it's important, but I think I was exposed to the idea of mentorship even before grad school applications. And so I'm the kind of shy person type who tries to figure things on my own and not ask people for help, that kind of thing. And so it was hard for me. But I realized those people who actually had people show them the ropes were finding things easier eventually than I had, because I would have to make my mistakes and learn from them. So when I applied to grad school, I applied for 2 cycles. So the first time I got in but I didn't get funding, I did it again. And in my first cycle, I had people to support me, but one major thing I didn't know is that starting early in your application is very important. And people don't really tell you this, oh, the deadline is January 15th, so if I put it January 14th, I'm good, right? So I started like doing my applications in January, like January, let's say late December, early January. I think my first deadline was like January 5th. And I had this guy who I met on LinkedIn. His name is Dr. Sixtus Agure. He was like my first mentor, I would say, for grad school applications. He took my hand, he helped me edit my CV, my SOPs and stuff like that, paid my application fees. Like a really awesome guy. And I think I did well in that first cycle, but it was like a limited time to actually get like really good material. And another thing you don't know about grad school is we have priority deadlines. So I'm applying like January 6th or January 15th, but maybe the priority deadline was like December 15th. And so most of the funding offers will be given for the priority deadline, and eventually, and maybe that is why I didn't get funding for my first cycle. But then I learned from it, and in my second cycle as well. So I got to understand the importance of mentorship and a lot of the things I didn't know. So in my second cycle, I looked out for these mentorship opportunities. We have different like Oxford mentorship program, Cambridge mentorship. I was a mentee for most of these stuff, and so I had mentors from like everywhere. But my Cambridge mentor helped me like the most, I would say. We met like every week from August till December, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So I hear some level of consistency from what you are saying. What would you say is some skills or some attributes that a mentee can look out for to sustain that mentor-mentee relationship?
So as a mentee, what can I do to make sure that I successfully have a good mentorship program?
Yeah.
I would say first of all, like good time management, but also understanding what you want. And sometimes it's difficult, right? Sometimes it's difficult. And so I've said two things already, but the third thing I'd say, which I say the most important, is actually communication. Because you need to be vulnerable to your mentor. Right? I remember, so during my second cycle, the first time I reached out to my mentor, I told him I've applied before, and these are the materials I had before. Can you look at it and tell me what you think is not right? Yeah. Because like if he approaches me and he assumes that, oh, this is my first time, blah blah blah, we are wasting valuable time. Right? And so being vulnerable, and sometimes people are not aware of their goals, like, oh, I have many interests, especially coming from undergrad. I like this, I like this, I like this. But I like AI, I like computer vision, I like energy systems. What do I write in my SOP, right? And being vulnerable and telling your mentor that, okay, I'm not really sure what I want. Can you actually help me, guys? Like, how can I refine my interest, or can I be able to write about all of this in my SOP and make it make sense, right? That would help you to be able to give something very comprehensive, and then the mentor would give you tailored advice, because they assume a lot of things. They would assume that, okay, I said go and write an SOP, you came back and you didn't write anything, but there's that writer's block because you don't even know where to start, right? And so communication is very key, like being vulnerable, managing your time, like if they schedule something, you have to be there. Sometimes it's frustrating, both to a mentee when like you start and you don't know your left from your right. You can be tired and all of those things, and sometimes like I feel bad or sad that some mentees don't take advantage of a mentor's time. And some will say, oh, I have NSS, I close at 5 and my mentor schedules a meeting at 4. But that can be solved with the first thing, communication. And if the mentor says, okay, no, maybe I can't be flexible, you have to make the time, or at worst cancel it. You are not wasting anybody's time. You can reschedule a meeting for later, but like if you show up late and all of those things, your mentor is not motivated that you are even putting in the work, and so they are not motivated enough to also help you to achieve. So these are the main things I would say. And then the last thing is like putting in the hard work itself. It's not enough to communicate and okay, so they now give you action items. Okay, do this, do this, do this, and you go and you don't do anything. Okay, write an SOP, sent to me by next week, and you don't do anything. Then that's not going to help anyone. At least do something. At least do something and come and explain, oh, maybe I had these challenges. Even if you don't change much, just do something to show that you're actually putting in the effort, and then it will go slowly but surely. Cool.
These are interesting insights. So communication, make sure that you do the hard work. Time management, time management.
Yeah, being vulnerable, like feel free to express yourself.
So that is on the side of the mentee. Now, I'm a graduate student, or I'm about to start applying, and I want a mentor, but I don't know what to look out for to pick a mentor. So how would I know that this person is a good spec to mentor me? Do I just say, oh, you were once my TA, or you were once my teacher, I want you to mentor me? Like, what should I look out for, you know?
That's a hard one. The reason why I'm laughing is because someone from the outside can look like this is the ideal mentor I want. But one thing I've grown to understand more is that time is a limiting factor for a lot of people and a lot of situations. Like myself, I run a mentorship program, all those things, but there comes a point that you have so much going on that even though I have the info, I can help you, but I don't have the bandwidth to help you right now. And so the first thing I would say is, just in general, you are looking to apply to grad school. Some people say, oh, the person has to do the same program I did. My mentor from Cambridge, I said, helped me a lot. His name is Alias Kotnik, from Slovenia, but he's now working in Germany. And we keep in touch. He was in aerospace engineering.
Wow,
he wasn't material science.
That's totally different.
But he had the underlying knowledge. What is a PhD? Like, I was going to a PhD. He helped me understand more about what a PhD is, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna apply to PhD. I didn't know too much about like what the PhD is. Because if you think like a PhD student, then writing your application stuff is very easy, because you are speaking their language. You are speaking the language. If you speak like an undergraduate or a master's student, it comes out. And sometimes I tell my mentees, this one, if it was a master's thing, it's fine. But you are a PhD, there's some level of depth and stuff they want from you, and you should show that you know these things. So looking for someone who understands the bare minimum of what it is to apply to grad school is the first step. Ideally, if you get someone in your program, fine, because they know the path, they can know professors, they can connect you in ways you can never imagine. So that could help, but don't shy away from someone who maybe did business administration or an MBA and is trying to like mentor you for a PhD program. At worst, they could connect you. So I remember my mentor from aerospace was saying he has friends in MSc, he could connect me eventually. Eventually, we didn't have the need to do so, because like things were going smoothly, and I was also making my own connections. So look out for someone who has the experience, someone you think is kind enough, I would say kind enough, to be able to give you that time and effort, right? And it's hard to see these things. If you knew the person, like as you said, it was your TA and stuff, you can evaluate, okay, out of all the TAs, maybe this guy, that kind of thing. But if you didn't know the person, maybe looking at their social media, okay, what are they posting on like LinkedIn and stuff like that, to give you an idea, okay, this person looks like someone, or just go look at the experience. Maybe they are not posting, some people don't post much, but just look at the experience, the things they've done, and see like the personality, see the personality of the person, right? But honestly, all those things that don't matter too much, because as I said, time is a limiting factor. You could need a mentor, and I know much, but I may not have the time. And at that time, you find someone who may not know as much as I know, but has the time for you, and you start from there. And that's why when we started, I said, look for different sources, because one source is not going to cut it for you. You can look at many sources, and you could have informal mentorship. I remember in my final year, I would join, that's when I started thinking about grad school. I would join Twitter spaces for like 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and just listen to different people. Those people from Scholarships Cafe on Twitter. On X was just like where I was. This girl from the UK, I've forgotten her name. These days they don't do stuff, that's why I've forgotten her name. But yeah, she went to Legon, she did material science, and they would talk about stuff. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I was gaining knowledge small, and so now when it's time to put it together, it's relatively easy. But yeah, those are the few things I would say.
So those are really good points that you gave. So not necessarily the fact that I did maybe material science engineering, I should get a mentor from that. But so long as the person has the time, the availability, and the basic foundations to be able to guide you, those are what we should look out for. So you did also mention like some social media spaces that people can get these resources, and I saw that you kept mentioning LinkedIn a lot. So for those who don't know LinkedIn out there, can you like give us a brief overview of the benefits you can get on LinkedIn and how they can also look for such resources?
This is one of my favorite sayings. I say frequently. I said the day I started using LinkedIn more than I used Twitter, because these are like two social media I was using a lot, it's like the day most things in my life changed on a professional and a networking scale. I was very intentional about building my profile on LinkedIn and getting connections with people and stuff. And so LinkedIn is a social media platform for professional networking that can help you like get jobs, internships, and stuff. And like people just reached out to me. One, because of something I posted, and the second one because of someone who reached out to me on LinkedIn for like a MasterCard project on Ghana. and I had like a 30-minute call with them, and then they featured me on their LinkedIn post.
Okay.
And then a CEO reached out to me and said, I saw that you help these people with these things, maybe we can work together, that kind of thing. So it's very powerful. You don't know who is seeing what you are doing, and that's why the biggest thing is to put yourself out there. And even nowadays it's harder for me. There's tons of things I want to post even now, but I'm like, once I procrastinate, I'm like, oh, I haven't posted this one, so I have to post this one. But you don't need to post much actually. You just need to have an account, be there, be building your network. As you said, okay, maybe you want to do a PhD in, what do we call it, civil engineering. Start connecting to the people that you know are in civil engineering, probably doing PhDs, because then you'll be surrounded by their content. And then you see, okay, he has gone for a conference, he has done this poster, and then you start looking at the kind of research that people are doing, because those things are also important in the long run. Like we are talking about Collins doing like cement research. Cement research is very broad. Like, what is the hottest thing in cement research right now? Are they using AI to do cement research? That kind of thing. Because you, as I said, thinking like a PhD student, you from your undergraduate experience, you are thinking about some research idea which probably is outdated to a PhD student. And so if you write like that in your SOP, then they are like, okay, you don't even know what is going on now, right? And so being active on LinkedIn like that and using it well, not just, I heard like nowadays people do a lot of different things on LinkedIn, but being focused, you tailor your network, you curate your content and just focus on that. It would really help you.
Whew, guys, this is so much information. I'm just receiving all the nuggets like left and right and center, and I hope you have got so much from this. So before our guest leaves, I'd like to ask him a few more questions. So do you have any advice to give to any graduate student out there or upcoming students, you know, to advise them for the future ahead, grad school in general? And
these days I've been very frank with people, and some people don't like it, but grad school is hard.
Okay.
And people don't emphasize that enough, and I don't want to scare people, but I believe in letting people know what is real, right? I don't want to, it's like when we're coming from high school to undergrad or college and people will say, oh like, you know, like all this stress in high school, waking up at 5 a.m. When you go to college, you can do whatever you want. In a PhD, in grad school, you can do whatever you want, but there are consequences for your actions, and you need to prepare your mind. One of the biggest advice someone gave me before I started my PhD, I was talking to people, and one of these guys at Oxford told me that you should get enough rest as much as possible, because the PhD is a marathon and you're going to do it for at least 3 to 5 years. And so you need to pace yourself. Right now, that time I was just in the house and I'm like, I want to start this thing, but it's very strenuous. If you're doing a master's, okay, it's shorter, but also it's very demanding in that short time, taking a lot of courses. But think more about, what am I going to do after the PhD? What am I going to do after the master's? And don't forget, so don't leave, like, drop everything, okay, my friends, my family, my connections, everything I'm doing because I'm doing grad school, right? Because as I said, you have a life beyond this, and you will eventually go back there. After 5 years, you finish your PhD, what are you going to do with your life, right? So if you want a job, you should still be intentionally building your network and thinking. You may not know what you want to do, but think, open your mind, think broadly. Okay, I would say, okay, if I want to go to industry, these are the kind of people I should be talking to. If I want to go to academia, these are the people I should be talking to. If I want to go to the national labs, these are the people I should be talking to. And I don't want to box myself, I'm talking to all of the people at the same time, right? But if you are just like, oh, I'm in grad school, I'm serious, build like your own social space as well. And that's what I'm saying. It's hard, but if you are able to build a network, like you meet people, have fun. Have fun. It's hard, but like have fun. If like there's events and stuff and you don't have pressing work, so like go and have fun, meet people. Because honestly, I've met people here who did PhDs. They are working now in big companies, and it's like, oh yeah, it's because I met this guy in this place here and he just gave me. And I will tell you that this is advice most people have given me who have finished their PhDs recently, and they say, Jude, when you go out there, network. And they have been saying it more. And I think I've been networking, but now I think I need to do it more, because these people are telling me, Jude, network. And these are some of the brightest people. They have the best like PhD thesis and everything, but they are saying, Jude, network. because it's not just like, oh, I did a PhD or I did a master's. There's many things that go into a role, and the more people know you, and the more it's easier to get stuff when people know what you can do. So be the best at what you can do, but then people should know you and just, yeah, I know this guy is the best at what he does, and you don't even need to interview. You can get the job without interviewing. Yeah, that's my advice.
Guys, this is so much information, and yes, we're going to play a really short game with Jude and see his thinking pattern on how he thinks. So it's just, would you rather? Okay, so would you rather pick discipline or motivation
for my life in what I do?
Yeah,
this is really hard. Yeah, I'm thinking too much as a PhD student. I'll say I'll say motivation. It's hard, but I'll say motivation.
Why?
Because if I'm doing something because I'm disciplined but I'm not motivated, I could easily burn out, and it's going to affect my health. It's going to affect many things. I'm not passionate about that. I don't really like it. I'm just doing it because I have to. And there are times in our life where we do that. But if you are motivated, you don't necessarily even need that like stern discipline. It wakes you up in the morning and you can go to the lab just because I want to see. That's why I want to see how this thing ends. I want to see how these things end. So I was saying, I don't necessarily need to come to the lab at 8 a.m. People will say, okay, discipline, need to be the lab. I can come to the lab at 11 a.m. but I want to see how this ends. So I'm staying till 12 a.m. the next morning because I'm motivated.
Okay.
Do you understand? Okay. So it depends on how you see it, but as I said, it's difficult to say. It depends.
Okay, the next one is, would you rather pick money or relationships?
This is another very tough one. This in an ideal world, you need both. Okay. Right. Money or relationships. I would say relationships. Okay. Because I'm not too big on money, and the people who know me know that. But relationships is wealth in itself. Yeah. But my relationships could also help me, right? Yeah. Let's say if I have an accident, I go to the hospital, I don't have health insurance, but my friend is a doctor, right? Maybe he can help me. Someone else can pay for it. So it depends on where those relationships help you, but relationships can also get you money in the long run. Yeah, it depends on how you leverage those relationships. Okay. Same way how you leverage the money. I would not want to be a rich man in a mansion and have no one around me. Yeah.
Okay. Ghana jollof or Nigerian jollof?
Oh yeah, this is the easiest. Ghana jollof.
Okay, guys.
Ghana jollof.
Jude said he'll go for Ghana jollof. Thank you guys so much for staying up until the end. I hope you have been impacted by this interview. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.